An early morning fog hung over the French Quarter like a thick gumbo, and the odd assortment of participants had much the same makeup as New Orleans' favorite food. You had the fleet and the slow, the old and the young, those foreign to running and those simply foreign, those trying for a new world record and those who were just trying. They all had come together on this wet April morning, 30,000 strong, to continue the tradition of New Orleans' annual festival of fitness and fun. Join us tonight as we take a look back at the 11th Crescent City Classic. Good evening, everyone. I'm Jim Henderson. Well, ours is a city that knows how to celebrate like no other. But in the midst of what sometimes seems like a year-round party, we pause for a day to toast our good health and to exhibit the results of the good things we do for ourselves that provide it. If you ran, jogged, walked, rolled, or crawled across the finish line of the Crescent City Classic, you know how much better off you are tonight for it. It wasn't the best of mornings weather-wise, but nothing could dampen the spirits of these folks. As the cotton candy mist slowly lifted from the Mississippi, pierced by the final drops of a shower that accompanied the sunrise, they gathered, the world-class fast and the downright slow. They were here to prove themselves to the world, or just to their friends. The serious runners wore serious looks, but most were not all that serious, and they chose to let their smiles be their umbrellas as they contemplated the minutes and the hours ahead. In the seconds before the start, they were packed in a row that stretched to the horizon, it seemed, and it was with a mixture of excitement and anticipation, dread and fear that they stood on the precipice of knowing what all the preparation was about to deliver. And they were off. At least the leaders and eventual winners were. They could fix their sights on the finish. All the others fixed theirs on the start. Getting there would be the first accomplishment. Only the first wouldn't be following a trail of bouncing buns in front of him. Only the last wouldn't be affording anyone else that view. In between, there were over 30,000 stories. What follows are some of them. Far ahead on the race course, the police were feverishly clearing the runner's path of obstacles. They missed a great chance to write 30,000 jaywalking citations back on the first, usually illegal, turn. The front row starters set the course and the pace. As they ran out of the French Quarter, they ran into the sunshine, fighting a losing fight with the clouds. They sped through a mile, 2, 3, and 4, and still no clear-cut leader had emerged. Australia's Andrew Lloyd, running here for the first time, was a part of that group of more than a dozen, and wondering why he had so much company.
Yeah, well, you're thinking, well, what's going wrong? You're feeling good, you're going fast, and you've still got 15 guys next year. The standard this year was just fantastic.
Keith Brantley was in and out of the lead, but even when there was no one in front of him, he feared the someone behind him. Mexico's Arturo Barrios, the winner here in 1986. Satchel Paige once said, "Don't look back, someone might be gaining on you." Brantley did, and someone was, the eventual winner.
I felt comfortable up to about 4.5 miles. I just went out maybe a little bit too hard, but Arturo just ran a fantastic race. He blew the race open at about 4.5 miles, and I was going through a bad patch. There's really not a whole lot I could do. Had a good last mile, and I felt pretty good at that point. Moved back into contention, but not close enough.
The slow early pace quickly convinced Barrios there'd be no world record to be had. Winning would be enough. But no one seemed willing or capable of breaking free of the pack. He decided to make a move, figuring it would lead to finishing either first or 10th.
I was looking at it, you know, the other guys, and everybody was looking okay. So it was so hard to, you know, to tell like who was going to win the race. And also because the Brandy has been running great. The guy from Norway, the guy from Australia, so there were like 3 or 4. And I was a little bit surprised that when I made my move, nobody stayed with me. They were a little bit behind, but I was expecting somebody to go with me. But obviously I was glad that nobody did.
Barrios crossed in 27:50, 28 seconds off the record. Lloyd was 10 seconds back in second. In the hundreds of men who closely followed ran a single woman, Californian Sylvia Mosqueda. Two-time winner Wendy Sly was pushing her but feeling the effects of a pulled calf muscle. Sly was thinking about stopping. Mosqueda did, with a side ache caused by the pace and the humidity. A male runner nearby urged her to continue.
When I stopped, I turned around. I could see Wendy Sly coming up on me, and she kind of looked like she was in pain a little bit. So was I, but so I kind of seen her in pain a little bit. So I just kept going, and I didn't see no other girl behind her. So I thought maybe if I just jog or finish it, I'd have a chance in winning it.
And win it she did in 32:32. The Russian contingent was led by Olga Bondarenko in 33:11. They later praised the charm of the city and the friendliness of its people. And they took away a bit of our city's culture that should soon be sweeping the Soviet Union.
Где вы?
Где вы?
Где вы?
That's Russian for where you at. Where most of the field was at was still on the course. They were cheered on by the old and the young. Some of the spectators wondered what all the excitement was about. Others were less interested than curious to see these stupid human tricks. The humidity began taking its toll, and more than one person was dragging tail to the finish line. But getting there reaffirmed why it hurts so good to do what runners, joggers, and walkers do. Whether your goal at the beginning was to win, place, show, or be seen, the finish line provides a jolt of euphoria only the participant can fully explain, no matter how you got there.
1 hour and 13 minutes later.
13 minutes. A new cheese world record.
A new cheese record.
It's the shape of the wedge. We're wind resistant.
This is a race for a select few who hope to win and whose faces at the finish mirror the exhaustion and the disappointment of trying to unsuccessfully. But it is more a race for the masses, whose goals are far less lofty and whose faces tell the world a different story.
Smile, smile, boss, smile.
We did it, we did it, we did it!
Well, usually we talk about the former Olympians and other world-class runners who come to New Orleans for the regular portion of the Classic. But this year, the wheelchair division took on a different look as 1988 Olympians competed in one of the best fields ever. The wheelchair competition is as intense and fierce as is the competition among those who run. It's also a celebration of the courage and determination shown by those who choose to focus more on their ability than their disability. These athletes using their arms will finish the 6.2-mile course faster than the athletes who will use their legs. Today, though, the wheelchair athlete would face more than the usual obstacles. A rain-slickened course and New Orleans street bumps combined to slow down the pace.
And I was very afraid of not having the grip, because you lose the grip on the gloves and on the push trims. And I don't use sticky things like glue and all that other people use. So I was afraid, and I just wanted to stay in the race. But after 3 kilometers something, it started to dry up. It was warm in the air, and the rain finished, so I had a better grip in the end.
World record holder Lars Lofström of Sweden would hold off a pack of 6 pursuers for the win, and afterwards hinted that after 18 years of competition, well, he might be through.
I think I finished now. I've had enough of this. I've been in the national team now for 18 years, so I'm an old man.
The women's competition became a match race between world record holder Connie Hansen of Denmark and Ann Cody Morris. The two came to the wire together, with Hansen holding off her rival.
Cody and me, we left the others after I think about 2 miles, and then we worked together all the way and tried to, both of us tried to get away when we got into the park, but we had to try several times to break away, both of us. So it was good, exciting all the way.
Well, when we come back, how the local runners fared in today's Classic. Today's field set yet another record for the size of a classic race. 31,000 took to the streets, including our own Eric Paulson, who made the 6.2-mile track for the first time.
Jim, it was a chance for me to do something I had never done before, run a 10K, and at the same time, get into a program that could get me into shape.
It is a day thousands have planned for months, the Crescent City Classic. The record books will remember the fastest times, but the day will have special meaning for some others who have never run a race before, novices, first-timers. Like this trio, one who works in television, his wife Linda, and a friend, Ronnie Joseph, who works for the government. And there are others, too, who have come out here for various reasons, all to do something they never have done before, run or walk a 10K race.
I'm a New Orleans native, and I thought I was missing something. Everybody says such marvelous things about it. Secondly, I wanted to get in shape.
It looked like a good way to do something good for myself and have fun.
I saw you on the morning news, and you had the fitness evaluation, and I decided to do it. And
Kind of inspired you.
It did. It really did. Yes.
Again, push up, push up, push up, push up, and relax. Good.
On the Eyewitness Morning News, we went through a program that is a good idea for all first-time runners. Checking on leg strength and getting a battery of tests from body fat to cholesterol. Then we were put on a regular running program every day, all geared for this day. Physical therapist Ginny Davis, who guided us through the program, has a bit of last-minute advice before the run.
And just go slow. If you start out too fast, which sometimes can happen with the momentum and everything, then you may not make it past 3 miles.
I'm a little bit nervous. I've never run 6 miles yet, so.
Well, you know, there are probably about 30,000 other people out here who are as nervous as you are, whether they're walking or whether they're running. And I'll tell you, those elite runners that are up in front, they're real nervous too.
With just minutes before the start of the race, it's time to stretch. A process every runner goes through, the experienced, the inexperienced, and even the ones who don't want to be here.
Please let me finish.
At the sound of the gun, we're off. Well, the people up front are off. The C group, where we are, will move in a few minutes. At the first mile, you feel a bit cocky. This is going to be a piece of cake. But every mile gets harder and harder. Then, 1 hour later, the finish line is in sight. The race is finally over.
Good job.
I'll never do that again. That was harder than I thought.
But not everyone feels the same. Some of the other first-timers took it all in stride.
It was a lot easier than I thought it would be. I flew in last night, stayed up to about 2 and partied, and then got up and ran this in a 41.
How'd you do, Dennis?
We did it in 58:33.
No kidding.
No kidding. Very good. And you?
And 101, yeah. But I had a rock in my shoe.
It could have been worse. I could have ended the race here.
It was tough. It was tough. It was tough. I mean, I can't get over how tough it was. I was surprised. I thought we'd, with all the training, because we've been training for almost 2.5 months now, and I thought it would be a lot easier. I was very surprised at how hard it was, especially that last mile.
But I feel a little differently. It wasn't as hard as I thought it was going to be, but I teach jazzercise 4 and 5 times a week, so I think that really helped because we work out about an hour.
Sure, so you were ready for an hour's worth.
Yeah, so I found it really comfortable.
How was it for you?
It was great. Looking at it as a team, we felt that if we run as a team, it would be much better to really encourage one another to head to the finish line and just give it a go ahead.
All right, now let me change this. Like I said, it wasn't so bad. I kept up that pace the whole way. It was
good.
great.
You were good.
So it was no problem for your wife, but you were a basket case.
It was a little harder than I thought because, like I said, I had never run more than 2 miles before in my entire life. Then all of a sudden to do this, I did a few things wrong. It was very humid. I drank no water before the race, which you should do. And then I forgot to breathe while I was running the race. And so my muscles kind of got very tired. And then every time I wanted to walk, there would be somebody in the crowd going, "Hey, Eric, come on, you can make it." And so I had to.
How are we feeling tonight?
Feel pretty good. Really feel pretty good.
Now, are you going to stay with this? Will you run, like, weekly, daily?
Yeah, I'm going to run, I think, about 3 times a week now, but just a couple of miles, just to keep up that cardiovascular system. And that's the reason we got into this, and the reason most people get into the race is they want to start something, use this as a catalyst, and then start into a good health program. And we want to thank Ginny Davis out at the Crescent City Physical Therapy for getting us in shape.
Real quick, did you lose weight while you were training?
I'm not sure yet. We'll find out.
Well, this year, the Classic started its own farm system of sorts to ensure that New Orleans has a sound running future. And we'll be back with that story next. Well, as the field continues to grow for the Classic, so it seems does the interest in running here. That concept brought on a unique event this year, and Mike Haas is here with that story.
And that's right, it was the first Crescent City Classic Junior, just for the youngsters, 4- and 5-year-olds, 6 and 7, 8 and 9, and then 10 through 12 years old. And you get here with a little trepidation because you talk to football coaches and players, then all of a sudden you're talking to a 4-year-old. It is a much, much different story. Let's take a look back now at the first Crescent City Classic Junior.
Probably the only track race where the participants come hand in hand with mom, where strollers outnumber the medium. All in all, the inaugural Crescent City Junior was classic.
That's where you're finished.
But I don't know where I'll come out. The same sign I
The same sign you went in. That's right.
You're going to come back through the stadium here, and you're going to come back to the finish line. When you pass the finish line, you finish. Okay? Look, I dare you towards your back on your knees. Squat. He's ready.
All right, who's going to win this race?
Leading off around 200 4- and 5-year-olds. They gathered for the first race, hungry, the taste of victory just minutes away.
Are you a little nervous?
No.
You're not nervous at all? Do you know where the track is, where you got to go?
We go around that one.
You're loving this, aren't you?
Around the track.
Well, I gave them a little pep talk and had them, saying that, look, they got to get with it and just run as fast as they could, try to get that finish line.
Just remember to take it easy on the way out. You want to enjoy it. You want to have fun coming back. So go easy and go slow.
Once outside the stadium, the pack does open up. And even on a chilly morning, water at the halfway point cools a heated contestant.
Go ahead, you got it. You're almost at the end.
Some of the more anxious parents couldn't wait inside the stadium.
Yeah, I think the parents are probably more nervous than the kids.
The parents are terrified because their children are not in their sight for a couple of moments when they're out of the stadium, but the children just love it.
The idea behind the Crescent City Junior is to promote fitness. It's all really for fun. Every runner takes home a blue ribbon.
Come here, sweetheart.
A kiss from mom is great, but if you want the true motivation, the enticement pushing youngsters to risk it all, free hot dogs and ice cream at the finish line.
Event, so some of us came out dressed for the occasion.
I'll tell you, I didn't know that we could do this, but we did it, and we certainly enjoyed it.
It was good for we had a body and our heart. Okay, especially when we dumped all the water on our heads. Yep.
Oh, we might do the bee worming.
And that's the whole idea, isn't it? To have fun. They didn't differentiate between winners and those who finished back in the pack.
Everybody that finished got a blue ribbon. Brian Pukas, as a matter of fact, his son was in this. He did the music part to that and did a great job. And I'm telling you, it was refreshing. It was a great time to be out there. And I think we'll see this grow as the Crescent City Classic has grown. This will be probably a good-sized event next year.
It's a purity about kids that's great, isn't it?
Oh, it was beautiful.
That was a good piece, too. Thanks, Mike. We'll be back with a final word right after this. Well, for weeks, the question around our city has been, are you running in the Classic? And your answer was, yes, I am. Well, tonight, the question around our city is, did you run in the Classic? And doesn't it feel good to answer, yes, I did? In the days ahead, the soreness will leave your muscles while the memories remain. And a year from now, we hope you'll be back here in even greater numbers to relive new ones. We leave you tonight with a look at those of this day, created in Crescent City Classic 89. Good night.